Welcome everyone. This is going to be part 2 of Project Serpo. This is MindBlaster. If you want to see part 1, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. The Voyage, landing, time on Serpo, and return home. The Voyage. The Earth travelers took literally tons of supplies with them, including food, medicine, weapons, and jeeps and motorcycles. But during the trip, they ate Eben food, which they heartily disliked because they said it tasted like paper. On the journey, they explored the spacecraft and were able to communicate with Earth. Unfortunately, one American had some kind of accident and died on the trip. They completed the 40 light-year distance in only 10 months. The landing. When the spacecraft landed and the Americans disembarked, they received quite a positive welcome. A large number of Ebens were present to greet them, and the Eben female spokesperson spoke to them in fluent English. The astronauts were overwhelmed with the brightness of the two suns. It was about 107 degrees, and they were in great discomfort due to the heat, which remained a problem for them during their entire stay on the planet. Time spent on Serpo. The Americans expected to stay on Serpo for 10 years. As it turns out, due to their confusion with the calendars, they stayed 13 years. It was difficult to keep track of days and times since the planet had two suns and it never got completely dark. One day on Eben lasted 40 hours as opposed to our 24. During their stay on Serpo, the Americans learned what they could about the history of the Ebens. The population of Serpo at the time of the visit was about 650,000, and all were Ebens. There was no other race or species on the planet other than Ebens. The astronauts learned about the Ebens' religious beliefs, and technology. It seemed they lived fairly primitively for a culture that also had advanced technology. Specifically, Ebens had anti-gravity vehicles they used for ground transportation. After a few years, the Americans moved to the northern part of the planet, where it was cooler, and they were able to grow food more to their liking. They had been taking with them food to last for more than 2 years, but when they ran out, they had to eat Eben food, which they never learned to like. Due to radiation exposure, 2 of the members of the expedition died while on Serpo. The return home. 2 Americans liked life on Serpo so much they decided to stay there. The remaining astronauts returned home in 1978, and the government quarantined them for an entire year. During that time, they had many debriefings, which resulted in a 3,000-page report. They were then allowed to go back to their normal lives. Little is known about their lives since, except the last surviving one died in 2002. There has been no communication with Ebens on Serpo since 1985, so it is not known what happened to the Americans who chose to stay on the planet. Reports from anonymous sources. In 2005, UFO discussion group leader and former government employee Victor Martinez received a series of emails from someone identified only as Anonymous. Anonymous claimed to be a retired government employee, and he or she supplied much of the information about the exchange program. Through the years, officials who are privy to this information have provided some acknowledgement that the reports are true. Reagan briefing transcript. The transcript of a President Ronald Reagan briefing by then CIA Director William Casey was discovered. It was a top-secret meeting, and the recording happened between March 6th and 8th, 1981. Director Casey provided Reagan information about the exchange program. Reagan had quite a few questions that he was told would be answered later in an additional briefing session. Unfortunately, we do not have a transcript of that session, so many questions are still left unanswered. Reagan mentioned his belief in UFOs and his high regard for Steven Spielberg from time to time. He even invited Spielberg to the White House for a special screening of Spielberg's movie E.T., the Extraterrestrial, released in June of 1982. So I wanted to show you guys some images or image of a supposed Eben. Now, this is said to be by many United States government insiders to be the best and most accurate image of an Eben from the planet Serpo, located 38.42 light years away. So you guys can kind of get an idea of what they look like. But that's it for the gist of Project Serpo. If you want me to go into more detail, let me know, because there's tons of information here that I could cover. Here's some other pictures of the Ebens, supposedly. These are just representations of how they could look. And this says various images of an Eben was as provided by many witnesses who observed the creature as they explored on our planet. But I'm not too sure of how valid these are. And this is from serpo.org, these images. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe. There's going to be more coming. Thank you.